Attention! Join us in Ethiopia from the 20th to the 29th of July 2026 for the Lion of Judah Tour, as we celebrate the 134th anniversary of Emperor Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia. In Addis Ababa, we will visit the Grand Jubilee Palace, the University of Addis Ababa Imperial Palace, the Throne Room and Palace of Menelik II, and of course, the Science Museum, the National Museum, the Battle of Adwa Museum, and so much more. Then we go south to Judgement and visit the hot springs and waterfalls of Wando Gede. And don't forget the summer palace of the Emperor. Come prepared to rock Naya. Remember that the Lion of Judah Tour is all inclusive. Your meals, your accommodations, transportation, and so much more. Plus, take advantage of our 50%, 30%, and 20% discounts that are available. For more information or to register, email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Lion of Judah Tour. What a gathering. And see you there.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian leaders, children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
We do greet you in the name of Emperor Haile Selassie I. The Nestalin, give thanks for your presence, Amasakanalo, the Tiger's Temple. With a joyful heart, we definitely say welcome. Give thanks for your presence and give thanks for the spirit of life that keep us. For the past month and a half, we would have produced several programs on the YouTube channel, highlighting the position of Emperor Haile Selassie I in world affairs. None of these programs were biblical or theological per se, as such, although we would have quoted one or two scriptures in one or two of these episodes, but they were solely utilizing, for the most part, geopolitical facts, events, and behaviors, protocols, specifically protocol, as it relates to diplomats and emperors and kings and position in the earth. but Haile Selassie the First specifically. We did the program when we showed Churchill. This one was entitled that I don't have it off my head, but England definitely needed the presence and assistance of Haile Selassie and Ethiopia during World War II. I'm sure many of you would have seen that program. The very same time they were shipping out all of their gold because Hitler was coming in at their front step. And at the same time, according to the autobiography, Churchill was saying it is necessary for Haile Selassie I to return to Ethiopia with our top generals, mark you, and a very serious aspect of our army. But Hitler is coming in at the front door. Don't worry. Believe me, we need this victory in Ethiopia more. We also did the program, The Kiss of Death, which is somewhat linked to this program that we are doing here today, and which really brought to the forefront that debatable topic of Emperor Haile Selassie I kissing the hand of Queen Elizabeth II. I'm not going to summarize it. It's right there on the YouTube channel. A very wonderful look. One of my favorites, I must say. So I'm just highlighting. We did the program with the coronation or the crowning, the festival of the Shah of Iran, and the position that the emperor would have held amongst them. This is very key, royal family, what I'm saying here. I'm just highlighting these several programs, somewhat bringing them back to mind. The galactical battle between the emperor of Ethiopia and the Pope of Rome. How many of you saw that one? And a few others, just highlighting Kennedy, Lincoln, buried the same time. And as I said, these were not necessarily sermons. And Luke chapter 2 and Genesis 59, and well, not 59, I think it goes that far, but the point I'm making is just utilizing geopolitical history as it relates to the King of Kings, Negus and Nagas. It is obvious that we are dealing with Earth's rightful ruler. That is the point. So, at the same time now, what we will be doing in this episode of the Tiger's Temple, we will continue to highlight in very swift fashion, really, the presence of Earth's rightful ruler in Emperor Haile Selassie I. And this one is going to put the emperor in the position of Saint George. Remember, Saint George is he that would have slew the dragon. So we're going to highlight all of that this day, right here in the temple. And we're going to be going into the Masonic order of the Knights of the Garter. In fact, I think I want to begin right there before we even say anything else. And you would have to store this because, yes, we will be jumping from point to point, but it will all wrap in tightly and nicely when we come to the end. How many of you know of the Noble Order of the Garter? We have a documentary, it's actually on YouTube as well, entitled Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. You should check it out. The most noble order of the Garter. The most noble order of the Garter. Connected and coming down from the Knights Templars and Jacques de Molay and these individuals with the Red Cross, the Rosicrucian, the Rose and the Cross, the Red Cross, all the Red Crosses, all of them. Masonic, yes, the Red Cross. Masonic within that frame. The most noble order of the Garter is an order of chivalry founded by King Edward III in 1348. The most senior order of knighthood in the British honors system. So you're dealing with this order again, 1348, King Edward III, the order of chivalry that is seen as the most senior order of knighthood in the British order system. King Edward III founded the Order of the Garter around the time of his claim to the French throne. The traditional year of foundation is usually given as 1348, when it was formally proclaimed. However, the complete peerage under the founders of the Order of the Garter states the order was first instituted on the 23rd of April, 1344, listing each founding member as knighted in 1344. So just giving you a quick rundown on what the Knights of the Garter is all about. And one of the things we will have to highlight this day is that Haile Selassie I, on his visitation to England in 1954, the very same time when the kiss of death was issued, he was inducted as such made a honorary member, I think that's the better term, into the Knights of the Garter. And in the 1970s, just before he would have left our presence, visibly, he went to a ceremony. And within that ceremony, under the great patronage of St. George, he was put in the position of leadership of this great, most noble, esteemed order of knighthood, order of chivalry. Unlike any other visitor, any other inductee into this ceremony. And this will prove even amongst, because this is very serious, we will show you in Masonic fashion, because that's what it is, how every individual there had to act and react to the presence of Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Gerogis is St. George. So what we're going to do now, we're going to highlight a few clips from two documentaries dealing with what I just mentioned as it relates to the Knights of the Garter plus the Ark or the Tablet of Keros Girugis and its movement during the time of the exile period of Haile Selassie the First. Royal family, give thanks for all of those who were present with us when we launched the Ethiopian history essay competition. I'm very thankful also for the response of those who would have responded and those who communicated and understand the mission. If you have not seen that episode, it is the video prior to this video. I'm speaking of the launch of the Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Obviously, I cannot take the time now to even try to summarize that. That is why the launch was done officially, and I would be very honored and thankful if you could revisit that video or check it if you haven't seen it. And there is a booklet that goes with the launch. In fact, the booklet is in the description of this video. Again, you can scroll down, and I'll be thankful for those who will take the time to go through that booklet. Yes, Rastafari.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian lineage, children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
For all those who are planning to be with us in July for the Lion of Judah tour from the 20th to the 29th, we have created a booklet answering all the questions that you would have as it relates to this upcoming tour. The itinerary is also included in the booklet. You can get the booklet in PDF form by emailing us priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. But in the description below the video, you have the link to the digital flipbook version of this booklet, The Lion of Judah Tour. You get all the information on where we will be going on our events. You have all the information as it relates to the special discounts, the 50%, the 40%, the 30%, and of course the full price, which is still very economical for the grand tour that you will be getting, the marvelous package that we would have put together for this upcoming Lion of Judah tour. So again, press the link in the description below for the online flipbook, or email us if you prefer the PDF, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. And let me remind everyone that the 40% off on the Lion of Judah tour, for sure that is definitely still available, and that will be available until the time of the 15th of May. So the 15th of May will bring to an end that whole aspect of the Lion of Judah tour, the 40% discount on the whole experience of the Lion of Judah. Beautiful. So what we want to do now is first of all highlight the ceremony of the Knights of the Garter that I just spoke about. And this is in the 1970s, just before Haile Selassie would have disappeared from our presence. And the thing is here now, this is the only time that the emperor would have attended this ceremony. It's not as if the emperor is this is the stuff he's into. This is Judgment Day. Don't forget the galactical war with the Pope Rasta. Don't forget how we laid the wreath at the memorial of Abraham Kennedy, Lincoln, there. Yes. Those who haven't seen these episodes, please go and check them out. We're dealing with Earth's rightful ruler. So, keeping everything in mind now, what we just mentioned, what we just read for you as it relates to this order of chivalry here. Now, don't get me wrong, this ain't nothing big to me. No, this is for the symbolic aspect of it. This is the most decorated human being in the world, Emperor Haile Selassie I, and decorated from all of the empires and kingdoms and governments and federal republics and institutions and churches and all sorts of organizations would have given him the keys to the city as well. All sorts of countries, all sorts of organizations would have given him their highest honor. But he's above all of these honors, really. But give thanks to the symbolic gesture. So I am highlighting the symbolic gesture here, which is more than a gesture, because greater than Solomon is here. Remember Solomon, the Knights of the Templars of Solomon, is like the father of Masonry, the Solomonic Temple, and the builders of them. They are the founders and the forefathers even of their legend. Hiram Abiff, and how he was hit in the head and buried in a shallow grave, and the acacia tree came up, and the lion's paw. All of that is the foundation of Masonry as you know it. So greater than Solomon is here. And if you don't know it, they know it for sure. So this is what I'm highlighting here now within this very symbolic expression. So we just got a bit of history, and we highlighted that it was the King of England, King Edward III, that founded the organization in 1344, 1348, depending on which aspect of the history you take. Now, although he, the monarch at the time, would have been the founder and technically the head, yes, to some degree, but according to their own protocol, it is the Prince of Wales. Follow me good. You can find this in the book entitled The Antichrist and a Cup of Tea. The author of the book is trying to highlight that Prince Charles at the time was the Antichrist. Interesting read. And he also highlights that it is the Prince of Wales, whoever it may be at the time, that is really the head of the Knights of the Garter. So this is important here, especially at this visitation of Haile Selassie I. Now, as they entered into the castle at Windsor, you had Windsor's castle. You had leading the procession is Emperor Haile Selassie I and the Queen Mother. And the Queen Mother really is Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, the mother of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, not the Queen's mother, but the Queen Mother. and the Queen Mother is the individual that you could say is moving with the emperor, while the emperor himself, they're both in front. But what you need to observe now, this is very deep, eh? Prince Charles is moving on the sidelines with them because the procession really is the emperor, the queen mother, and of course their entourage behind of them, and then Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. So they're really the individuals that are really leading the procession. Now, this video may not be the clearest as such, but just tiger with us. So again, as they're coming out now of Windsor's castle, you see the emperor and you see the Queen Mother and Prince Charles on the sideline. Prince Charles on the sideline, and all the bishops coming out as well, and some key figures. And behind you will have Queen Elizabeth coming out with Prince Philip. Now, what I want to highlight here is that amongst the knights, none of them has their hats on their heads. You may say, what? Yes, all of them have on hats. They had them on when they were coming in. But as they're coming out now, the knights, they do not have their hats on their heads. Now, this is Queen Elizabeth. She has her hat on her head. That's a woman. The Queen Mother, she has her hat on her head as well. I mean, these are women, so they did not even take off their hats when they went inside. But all of the knights, so these are the knights lining the step, all of the knights had to take off their hats as gentlemen. It's only gentlemanlike, what say you? And Prince Charles also here without his hat. Now, does that mean something? The emperor doesn't have on his hat here neither, you know. The emperor came out. I'm not saying the emperor was in there with his hat. No, all the gentlemen had to take off their hats. All right. Now, why is Prince Charles, at the time, Prince Charles, walking on the sideline? Why is he not in the procession itself? Now, I would have done some study on this, and if anyone knows more about it than me, don't hesitate to say, comment, whatever. But from my findings, and more thorough research can be done. But from my understanding, this is not a regular thing for the Prince of Wales to be on the sideline. I've looked for every video I could find of this ceremony, and the Prince of Wales at the time, again, Prince Charles, was always in the position where Haile Selassie I is in this specific procession of the Knights of the Garter. What is the point I'm making? The point I'm making is that obviously Haile Selassie is in the space of the head of this organization. So the head is the Prince of Wales, the man. Yes, founded by Edward III, but it was Prince Edward, the Black Prince, that was the first head of the organization. Now, it's not Prince Edward, but Prince Charles. That is the head. I mean, full circle, man. Prince Charles, not Edwards, but Charles. Edwards, Charles. is the head now of the organization as the king is visiting this. The king was put into this organization since 54, it's 70 something now. Let me pay these people a visit because St. George must slew the dragon. So Prince Charles would have left his seat, let's put it that way, and has given his seat because I know they had a seat inside. Maybe cameras were not allowed, but there were seats inside. So obviously, if he would have come out of his place, he's on the side. As the procession is going in, he's in no line. He's just by himself. And as I said, from my research, every other event that I've seen as it relates to this, he's always next to the Queen Mother in the very same position that Haile Selassie is in. The most esteemed order of chivalry, you know, the most esteemed order of knighthood, representing the patron saint, St. George, who we already highlighted before, is Haile Selassie, Kedos Gurugis, anyway. And that is why the head of the organization had to come out of the line. Come out of the line. Come on, man. You have other people that were inducted into this of high renown, you know. Margaret Thatcher and Winston Churchill, and they got to walk with the regular knights. Much more the Prince of Wales coming out of the line. Well, listen, again, for those of you who are more studied than me, you know, you can assist your brother. But I don't think this was ever done, ever. Not by Prince Charles, you know, ever. Ever. And if that is true, this ain't nothing to play with. Remember, this is chess. And at the same time, Masonic gestures as well, whether you like to hear it or not. I know some races get very funny when they hear Haile Selassie's name and Masonic and so in the same sentence. Don't be upset with me. What you want me to do, put my head in the ground like the fabled ostrich, because the real ostrich doesn't do that. You know that. When it's obvious, so how am I going to explain what we're looking at here? Isn't it a Masonic organization? Big red cross coming from the Knights of the Templars, you know that. The king is a member. Looky right in the front of it. What am I supposed to say? I'm not, brother, I'm telling you, they have people that fly from one island and come and visit me where I am in Antigua to tell me that they upset with me because I say Haile Selassie is a Mason, which I didn't actually say that. But because I'm affiliating Masonry and the subject area with Haile Selassie, honestly, straight up, it's just lack of understanding for anyone to even talk like that. You can see it with your eyes. Look, he has on the clothes. Big red cross on the left shoulder. What, you're going to pretend you're blind? Be careful. So anyway, give thanks. Yes. Now, observe this. So again, Earth's rightful ruler, that's my point. As I said, coming out of the arena there, the knights do not have on their hats. They all had on their hats when they were coming in. The Queen Mother has on her hat. I mean, of course. And the ladies must have on their hats. But the gentlemen take off their hats. Yes, very good. The emperor is now putting on his hat. What is he doing? Doesn't he know? Not supposed to put on your hat, that ain't for him. In fact, nobody puts on their hat until the emperor puts on his hat. So the emperor puts on his hat. Remember, we're dealing with chess, and we're dealing with masonry, and we're dealing with deep symbolism here. Everyone has their hats off. The king has the biggest feather in the whole procession. The biggest feather, bigger than the queen's and bigger than the Charles. Watch it good. Not even Prince Charles. He is on the side. Now, interestingly, when the king puts on his hat, I realized that some soldiers put their hats on their heads at the very same time. Look at these soldiers here that wear the big hats. See, he's fixing his hat. And then, interestingly now, even on the other side, they have some soldiers that just put their hats on their heads. But again, Prince Charles on the side, his hat is in his hand. And you have also, none of the knights would have placed their hats on their head. Now, of course, as you can see, the breeze is blowing very strong. The wind, the nefas, the ceremony coming out. You see Queen Elizabeth going into her carriage there. That will be for her and the prince. What's his name there? Prince Philip. And then you have Haile Selassie, beautiful God and King. Look at the wonderful I am. Oh my, yes. And you see his feather is the biggest, or feathers, whatever's going on there. No one put their hats on their head as yet. Only the soldiers. After Haile Selassie put his hat on his head. Rastafari, do you understand protocol? You don't, this is not anything goes, you know. As if, well, I feel to put on my hat, or I don't feel to put on my hat. This ain't no joke. Not because the king smiling and having a nice time. Galactical warfare, the kiss of death. Oh, man. Listen. You see, if you praise Haile Selassie the first, no matter who you are, I have enough respect for you with that decision. I don't know, there may be other things, I'm not sure, about you that may not garner any respect, I don't know. But you see, when a man and a woman find it in their heart to give all praises to Haile Selassie, enough respect to that, because that is what it is. Now look, here comes Prince Charles. No hat on his head. Now he put on his hat. Now he sits in the carriage. And then the carriage moves on. Look, the fellas on the seat, they just put their hats on their heads too. I'm speaking of the carriage people, no hats on their heads. They come up and they put their hats on their heads. So this is very serious. So what that is showing you, that this is the master of ceremonies here. And again, I really stand corrected if this has been done for some other monarch or visitor. I think it would have definitely had to be a monarch before, but I don't think so. In history, not just in Charles and Queen Elizabeth position, but in history. And again, even if I was corrected, it is obvious that just that whole act of nobody putting on their hats, even soldiers have off their hats. And when the emperor put on his hats, his hat, pardon me, then the soldiers put on their hat or hats. English, brother. Then Haile Selassie I, as he enters the carriage, Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, the real head of this stuff, he comes in without his hat, and then he places his hat on his head. And you may say, Ras, what you're trying to tell me? This is about hats? No, man. This is about protocol, diplomatic gestures. Whether it may appear to be a game to you, it is what it is, and it tells the story. What is the story? Well, it's not a story, but it is the main point that Haile Selassie I is Earth's rightful ruler. Let's get to the next video now.
To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian lineage, children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me? Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
England and Ethiopia have a common link in St. George. He is their patron saint as well as ours. 5 years ago, as the black shirts marched into Addis Ababa, the priests of the Coptic Cathedral smuggled out of the town the Ark of the Covenant of St. George.
Do you understand what he's saying? He said, first of all, England and Ethiopia has a common link with St. George. And when the Italians came into Addis Ababa, the clergy ones, the priests, would have, according to him, smuggled out the Ark of the Covenant of St. George, Keros Girugis, the Tablet of Keros Girugis. And it has been, that's the Ark of the Covenant of St. George, as he refers to it as, the Tablet. It has been with Abagai, the chief of the police, at that time who was no less than 100 miles away from Addis Ababa at any time, him and his courageous army, real hero figure in our Tariq, in our Ethiopian history. That's what he's saying here.
England and Ethiopia have a common link in St. George. He is their patron saint as well as ours. 5 years ago, as the black shirts marched into Addis Ababa, the priests of the Coptic cathedral smuggled out of the town the Ark of the Covenant of St. George. It is a famous ark throughout Ethiopia. It is the ark of the national consciousness and of self-defense against aggression. It was with Menelik when he defeated the Italians at Adowa in 1896. It was with Ras Ababa Aragai throughout the Italian occupation. On a cold morning in Addis Ababa, it came back to the cathedral with the emperor and was put once more with hymns and sacred dance in the Holy of Holies. It was a cold morning, and it rained, but a right was restored on that day, and the chains were struck off the wrists of a whole people.
Now, so the Ark of the Covenant of St. George returns with the emperor, because now highlighting the ceremony of the Knights of the Garter. Remember, that is around St. George. That's the cross of St. George that they carry. Edos Girgis, the Ethiopian saint. The Europeans borrowed all of this stuff. You know, the same Heru slewing the dragon. We have that from so long ago before England was an England. So the point I'm making is this is an African understanding, an African tradition. So Haile Selassie, to just cut to the chase, brother, is Keros Girgis in flesh. Such a spirit is within him. He is the dragon slayer. So the same time that he would have gone into so-called exile, the ark was taken out. The Ark of St. George, the same ark that would have been with Menelik II on the battlefield, the same ark of St. George that represents the slewer of the dragon, the same St. George that they are highlighting and bigging up as members of the Knights of the Garter. So when the king returned, the ark returned and was replaced with singing and dancing and the full works. That is to show you that it is a oneness with the emperor, the Tabat, the ark, Kedos Girgis, St. George. Royal family, give thanks. Give thanks, that's a little spiritual aspect for I and I. But in reality, on the geopolitical level, then, now, and forever will be, Haile Selassie is obviously Earth's rightful ruler. Yeah, man. Royal and loyal. Bata Jin, Janai, Negus I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. Give thanks. I'm a second Allah.
Sign up today for the Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy course and take advantage of our 50% off. The 50% discount is for a limited time and you will receive the full course for only $99.99 United States dollars. The Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy, professionally done. The graphics are definitely top notch. Email us priestisaacInstitute@gmail.com. Designed for the mature mind and also for the young thinker.
Honorable Priest Isaac here, and I'm here with Brother Nakaya Yahawasha
And of course, how you felt about the tour, the different places we visited, the different parks, museums, churches, the Christ Mass. Give us your experience, my Lord.
Yeah, man, and bless up, this Isaac Institute, for coordinating, this year, necessary and islandful occasion, wherein I got the opportunity now, guidance and safety and security, to be able to forward here, into this year, I grounds, motherland, Ethiopia itself, and to touch in Ethiopia and also to touch in very, very sacred grounds, such as the King's Palaces, because now I am, multiple palaces where the king, resided, meeting grounds, clothes that the king wore himself, so to touch on these different areas, go to the museums, also to the national, institutes, as well as, the space program to see what's going on, as well ancient, traditional Ethiopia, as well as where Ethiopia is heading for the future. Definitely, Ayman, is personally encouraging Ayman self to return here and making the necessary preparations to come forward to be here. So it's not just a dream but a reality. So I can continue to learn, because there's no way, there's so much to learn. There's no way to learn and compact everything in just one tour. So I is looking forward for the future tours, not just the next tour, but the tours up on top of the tours up on top of the tours.
Building.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian religious children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com.